Hi guys, this is E from Ovanis and today we're making a standing up football player fondant figure. In this tutorial we will use approximately 130 grams of skin color fondant, 30 to 40 grams of white fondant, 2 skewers and Ovanis sculpting tools. And before we will start with the tutorial, I would like to point out that there are two kinds of fondant faces that we can put on this figure. The first one is the cartoon-like simple fondant face, and you can find the free tutorial at our website at ovanis.com. And the second one is the realistic portrait fondant face copied from a picture done with the Ovanis Photo to Fondant Premium Sculpting tutorial. You can find the details at ovanis.com and the link is down below. And now let's get started. Before we will start sculpting our stand-up figure, we will add some CMC powder to the skin color fondant. CMC powder is basically a powder that makes our fondant dry quicker and be firmer, which is quite important in standing up figures. So after we kneaded in the CMC powder into the fondant, we need to start working quite fast because the fondant will get harder and it won't be as flexible as without the CMC. Now we're starting making the legs and we're using 45 grams of fondant for each leg. Smooth your piece of fondant by pulling all the lines and creases just to one point and roll the fondant in between your hands. Roll it into a long rope, approximately 12 centimeters long, and make one end thinner and the upper end wider. Around the middle, pinch the leg a little bit and create a knee by pinching out the fondant. And the same with the second leg. Make sure that the legs are the same length, of course, and the same width. Next, we're going to make the football player socks. So take a small piece of white fondant, roll it out very thin. We don't want it to be thick on the legs. As thin as you can without tearing the fondant. Cut out 2 rectangles and wrap it around the legs. bit of water to glue the fondant to the leg, and make sure you're making the seam in the inner side of the leg. Cut off the excess fondant and repeat with the second leg. Again, make sure that everything is at the same height and set the legs aside to dry. Next, we're going to make the arms, and we're using 15 grams of skin color fondant for each arm. So the same as with the legs, we're taking all the seams to one point and rolling the fondant in between our hands. I'm rolling the fondant into one long rope and I'm cutting it in half. Each piece is about 7 centimeters long. Again, roll it in between your hands and make one end thinner and one end thicker. And we're going to make our fondant player hands like he's holding his sides, so we're not making the palm of the hand, and I'm making some sort of a fist. Pinch out an elbow, and this is what we're looking for. Repeat the same with the second arm. Now, the reason we're making all the parts by themselves and not assembling the figure right away is that because we use the CMC powder and I want the figure to dry and be stiff so it could hold the weight of a standing up fondant figure. So we will make all the parts like the legs, the arms, the body, the shoes. We let it dry a little bit and we will assemble it later. Next, we're going to make the upper body. So I'm taking any color of fondant you like. You can use some scraps, the fondant you don't use usually. And the reason is because it's going to be hidden under the clothes. So I usually like to use fondant that I don't use much, or some leftovers I have. And we're adding CMC powder to the body as well. Incorporate it very well. After the fondant is mixed with the CMC powder, roll it in between your hands and create a rounded rectangle shape, approximately 8 centimeters long and 6 centimeters wide. Now, a man's body is some sort of a triangle shape, so it's going to be wide shoulders and a thinner waistline. So this is what we're making. Don't forget to make the chest stand out a little bit. And this is the shape that we're looking for. And before we will let our torso to dry as well, we will add a small piece of skin color fondant to create the neck, which is going to be visible from the shirt. So just take a small piece of skin color fondant and put it on top of the body. Smooth it down with your fingers. Shape out the neck and the shoulders, and we can set the upper body to dry as well. Next, we're going to make the shoes. So take 2 pieces of blue fondant, roll them into an oval shape, and then press with your finger on one end and shape it into a shoe shape. For the laces, roll out a small piece of white fondant into a very thin string and cut out 4 pieces and attach them to the shoe using a little bit of water. After attaching the laces, use the veining tool to create indentations on both sides of the laces to create the look of the lace holes on the shoes. So about after a few hours, we can start assembling our figure. As you see, it already quite hard. Now we need to insert the skewers into the legs. Make it very slowly. Don't push too much, of course. You don't want to disfigure the leg. And try to keep the skewer very straight, so it won't come out in the middle of the leg somewhere. Insert the shoes onto the skewers as well. And now we can stick our legs into the styrofoam base. Insert the body on top of the legs, and we are ready to start making the clothes. First, we're going to make the pants, the shorts. Take a piece of white fondant, roll it out approximately to 2 millimeters thick, cut out a rectangle. Wrap it around the waistline. My fondant is quite sticky, so it attaches by itself, but you can use a small amount of water. Cut off the excess. Don't worry if it's not really neat, because it won't be visible, it's going to be under the shirt. Using small scissors, cut it in the middle and tuck it in between the legs. And as you see, by that we're creating shorts. Attach it to the other side, to the piece on the other side. And here you go, you have some shorts. Next is the shirt. Again, roll out a piece of white fondant, cut out a rectangle. It's supposed to be very long rectangle because it needs to cover the front and the back. So it's about 25 centimeters long. You better cut it longer and then cut off the excess. rectangle, I used the piping tip and I cut out a small circle for the neck and just insert it over the neck. Pinch the fondant on the sides and cut off the excess fondant using some small scissors. At this angle, to cut fondant, the best tool you can use is scissors. Before we're going to attach the arms, we will make some sleeves. So again, roll out a piece of white fondant to approximately 2 to 3 millimeters thick and cut out small rectangles and wrap them around the arms. And now, using small amount of water, we're going to attach the arms to the body. And after the finished assembling the figure, I'm using some black gel food coloring to draw the details for the uniform. Let's see if you can guess which team I'm making. Of course, you can make any team you like, any football player you like. The color of the uniform, you can use any color fondant you like. It's all, just use your imagination. So as I mentioned at the beginning, you have two options for the head that you can put on this figure. The first one is the regular character, and the link for the free tutorial is down below. And for the second option, and I'm really excited to talk about it because this is the best seller at tovanis.com, this is the premium tutorial on making a portrait out of fondant. Okay, this is a product that changed the birthday cake and celebration cake entirely. And just imagine seeing your loved one's face when he sees himself on a cake. You can make your child, you can make your husband, you can make a celebrity, you can make your child's head on a superhero's body. The possibilities are endless, and this is a truly amazing product. So thank you for watching this tutorial. All the details are in the description box down below and at tovanis.com. If you want to watch more tutorials about fondant figures, and you guys like us have a passion for cake fondant decoration, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. This was Eve from Ovanis. See you in the next videos. Stay sweet.